Training Nation, this episode is taken from some coaching calls that Mike did with our clients that we thought would bring tons of value to you. We hope you enjoy. And now on to the show.
Luke Tucker in the house. Hit us with a celebration, brother.
My celebration, I feel like we're really dialing in our hiring funnel. I'd have to go back and look, but we've brought on like 3 or 4 people in the last 3 weeks at least. And we've got working interviews set up for next week and had great interviews this morning. So when I met y'all 3 or 4 months ago, that was like the thing I was beating my head against the wall, like trying to get people in. And the system that we're using in the hiring funnel is doing what it's supposed to be doing. So I'm happy about that. And that I'll kind of tie it into the question that I submitted. I think this is the first week that they've been doing all of the scheduling. So like it's working. I mean, I showed up this morning and there was 5 people out of 30 that we invited. So we're even higher than our 10%. So that worked out great. And to tie it into my question, I'm trying to figure out a way to mitigate without discriminating a bunch of like guys that show up to these interviews who haven't really read, the job description, and they're like truck drivers or something, and they're like, "Oh, I just need another part-time job." And then I explain that, well, we're like 100% female-based company, except for me cleaning houses. And then they sit there during the interview, and it's kind of a waste of time, to interact with them. So I'm curious how other folks are kind of handling that.
So how the other folks are handling, I'll let you do that in the next level group channel.
Okay.
Well, there's the legal, and then there's the moral, and there's a practical issue when it comes to only accepting certain race, gender, size, whatever restriction you want. So I obviously can't speak to the legality of not hiring men. Feels illegal to me, but I'm not.
Right. Well, I'm saying even when we sit there and do the interview, there's been a couple that I thought were great core values match, and we're like, hey, let's talk about doing, a one-on-one interview. And they're like, I don't want to work with a bunch of women. I didn't know what this job was. And I'm like,
well, that's a disqualification on them. Like if I hired my first male employees, like I'm not working with a bunch of women. I'm like, well, we got a bunch of women. I don't know what to tell you. Like,
right.
I kind of like women, but if you don't, maybe this world probably isn't for you. Cause I've seen give or take half are going to be women. So it's so weird. Yeah. Like, is there a percent, like if we had 23% women, like, is that acceptable? Just a weird thing to say. So that's that's that human problem, not a problem with your situation. So are you saying you are and again, I'm not looking with the government trying to like trick you. I'm just trying to help you. So can't speak to the legal. Don't care about the moral. Like if you only want to hire women, I don't give a shit. Or men. Legally, I can't speak to, but it sounds not great. Practically is where I can, my job is to help you get the business that you want. Practically, unless there's a real good reason for it, eliminating half the potential labor force. I'm like, well, that doesn't make any sense. So is your goal to only hire women, or is that just how it's turned out?
No, that's just how it's turned out. When we were doing commercial work, we had tons of guys out working, at night doing their thing. It just seems like the recurring residential daily workforce that we have found, it's all ladies.
Which is common. Most residential applicants are going to be ladies. Most commercial cleaners are going to be, when I say most, I mean over 50%, not like 98%. Most commercial be men. So yeah, I'm not worried about it. Like as long as you're, and I no offense to men, sorry fellas, if it like Spencer's a perfect example for those of you guys met him. Dude's 6'4", 260, like big dude, but he's so sweet. And so the way he comports himself is very, I would send him into a single mom's house or a woman alone or children and be like, that's Spencer. Other dudes might be like, I don't feel comfortable with it. And I'm not going to like tell them that and make them feel bad about themselves. I'm just not going to invite them to a second interview. So I do think it's wildly okay to go, are my clients generally going to be comfortable with this person? And if the answer is no, again, I can't speak to the legal part of it, but if you don't feel that they're going to be comfortable with your people. So would I be a little more careful about the men I hire? Like maybe 69% of the men that I would see, I would trust in my clients' homes, and maybe 97% of the women I would trust. Now, I'm not saying there's no other qualifications. It's just when they walk in, I'm like, yeah, I feel good sending this person in, and not just like if they got some junky car that's all bonded up and looks like crap, and and they're like, am I going to embarrass my clients by having that in front? If the answer is yes, I'm not going to let them drive that car to my clients. So that said, if there's a dude that's like, I don't want to work with all women, I'm like, okay, well, this is the staff we happen to have today. It might be different in a year, but the fact that you're unwilling to work with all women before you even know them, probably not a good fit. Like that's a weird distinction, but I'm not going to change a process around it, because if they want to show up and say, I don't want to work with women, like, okay, well then don't come to the second interview. Like, what do we, best of luck. Like, that's the beautiful thing about the group interview. It didn't take you any more time. You're going to be there the same 30, 45 minutes.
Yeah. And like I said, I mean, I'm the only male in my business, and I work fine with everybody, and everybody works fine. It doesn't matter to me who we hire. It just, I don't know if it's just an individual people problem. The ones who have shown up have just been like, it's just a waste of time. So we'll just keep along the path. Of course,
because your time's the exact same amount. That's the beauty of the group.
Yeah, very true. Yeah.
So, and not that I want to waste their time, but if they're the ones that are disqualifying themselves and they wasted their own time, like, I don't have any responsibility for that. And I will be honest, guys, gals, ladies, feel free to throw things at me. I have found, so again, it's not like I don't hire women, or I don't, women good or bad, men good or bad. That's not the case. It's just nuance. I found the same with high school and college kids, right? Like, I hit them a little harder to make sure, because a lot of times just for beer money and they quit or don't show up, it's not a big deal to them. I've had very good young people, employees, I just screen a little harder. Women, I found they're kinder, nicer, more relational, but they also get a little pissy with each other. So I hit them a little harder on the core values. Like, we have predominantly women on our team, and they're phenomenal, but they're super core values matched. I look a little harder at that, because I have worked with groups of women, and I'm a big fan of women, ladies. They can get a little more gossipy or shitty or whatever, where guys are more like, I'll punch you in the face and we'll go have a beer after. Women will do it a little differently. So I just make sure their core values fit. That's all. Core values fixes all of that crap. I'll take a core values based, pick all the demographics I don't like over perfect on paper demographically, but not a core values match. So core values are the base of everything, but I just look for different things in different people. So like in a Spencer, if, I'm not saying no tattoos, but if he's tattooed and he's this huge hulking man, and he's got a nose ring and he's got an aggressive stance, I'm like, well, all that together, I'm not going to say no tattoos or no big people or no nose piercings, but you put it together in one dude, and I can see a little Jessica going, I don't want to say it, but I don't want this dude in my house. I feel uncomfortable. Then I'm going to make a judgment. So does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And I'm not even just talking about for our customers, but all the women on the team are like, you sent that guy to a second interview. I'm like, you're judging him right off the bat. I'm like, he was great. He was nice, or whatever. So, yeah, I'll hit harder on the core values, in the initial, in those initial group interviews.
Okay. And that is a great point that I completely overlooked, and I should have. That's weird of me.
Yeah.
Equally, if not more important, the people that they're going to be working with. Like, yeah, Jessica,
exactly.
One thing to be like, this guy's going to be in your home. That's a bit of a commitment that you and he are going to work together for 6 hours and home alone by yourself. So you're 1,000% right. Obviously I want but it goes both ways, right? Like, if I've got a good culture and good people, and I bring a Luke in who's a sweet guy, and Jessica's got a problem with it, well, that's probably a Jessica problem. If I bring some convict in that she's like, I don't feel good about this, that's probably on me. So again, core values fix a lot of stuff. When you're having fun, making money, being all helping out, everyone that shares those values tends to get along. Less so on the looks. When you don't have those core values, it gets to be a little more like, this person looks like me or has similar experiences as me. So because we don't have any shared values, we have to kind of default to that, if that makes sense.
Yep, absolutely. No, that makes perfect sense. And that I just kind of needed that all reiterated, maybe in a different way. It's kind of the exact same thing I was thinking. So
cool. And again, a lot of times when I have a coach tell me what I thought I was thinking, I'm like, good. I didn't know if I was on the right track. It helps me. All right, good. I thought I was doing the right thing. So if we're wrong, we'll be wrong together. And we're both bright enough. I don't think we're both going to be wrong at the same time. So
yep. Sounds good.
Mike Campion here. Do you ever listen to the podcast and go, this is great information, I just wish I could actually get it implemented, and I wish I could get some help? Well, we do that. If you would like either myself or my team's help actually coming up with a plan that's specialized to you and your business, because with these podcasts, obviously we have to be very general and we can only go 20 minutes at a time. If you'd like to jump on a call with myself or my team, go to growmycleaningcompany.com/talk. We'll jump on a call. There's no charge, and we'll help you get some absolute clarity around exactly what to do next and how to do it. The reason we don't charge for these calls is the plan that we come up with, people want help implementing that. If that's the case, we're happy to talk about it. And if it's not, that's okay too. We're happy to just help you come up with a plan. So if you want to translate the information you're learning here into an actual plan that can change your life, give us a ring, growmycleaningcompany.com/talk. Love to either myself or have one of our coaches walk you through and actually personalize the content you get here to where you're at with your business. Talk soon. Adon says, we are having, oh, by the way, anytime, just try this out, guys, gals. Anytime there's the word problem or trouble, replace it with opportunity, and you shock how crazy it is. So what the original sense, we're having trouble to decide how much freedom we give our employees. We've got an opportunity to decide how much freedom we give our employees. Doesn't that sound better? Same goddamn thing, but just a little different way to look at it. So we've got the opportunity to decide how much freedom to give our employees when it comes to training, work interview. Lately, we've been more rigorous when it comes to deciding who stays on the team and who doesn't. Good. Some of our trained employees have been really good at gatekeeping. Good. However, it feels like some might be taking it too seriously and started acting a little too strict. How can we turn this around without chastising? All I can think of is core values. Good, because all you need is core values, brother. But the way you implement the core values is I'm just jumping in on those, the meetings and giving them some feedback. That's all.
Okay. That's what we were doing. I'm not sure if I should be doing this. We on this Monday, last weekly meeting, we did the whole meeting. After the meeting, I asked all of the people that are trainers so far, because everyone is going to train, but
yeah, don't still do that in the front of the meeting, because for everybody, we want to make it like a reward and like a something everyone wants, right? So I'm going to bring it up in front of everybody. So say Jessica and Claire and Vernetta aren't trainers yet. I want them to hear about this. Like, wait a sec, people or interviewers like, oh, I want to be a part of that. So I wouldn't hold them separately, and I'm not going to call anyone out. So say like it was Sean who I felt didn't do a great job. I'm not going to call her out in the group, but I might say, hey guys, as a team, and here's the way I would have you communicate it to them. So A, communicate to the whole team because we want everyone to see what's going on and know there's an opportunity to do that. B, I would just emphasize, hey guys, here's what they're probably doing. They're going, is this person worthy to be on the team? And only the working interview people are answering that question. The group interview people, they're only answering the question, is this guy worth 20 minutes of Luke's time or whoever the next interview is going to be? Mm-hmm. That's a much lower standard, right? Yeah. So I'm going to focus on the front of the funnel and be like, Luke, it's okay. And again, if they're bad, they're bad. Like, I'm not saying if they're just not a fit, don't send them forward. But if you're not sure, that's why we have 3 different interviews in 3 different places with 3 different people. Right. Let Sarah take a shot. And again, Sarah's not deciding if they're coming on the team. If she's the one-on-one, she's just deciding if they get to start training with Claire. So that's a much easier decision. Claire does have to decide if they're going to make it on, and she's going to recall, well, gosh, Luke and Sarah both thought this was a green light. Now I'm cleaning with them. I'm going to spend a week or 2 with them. So I'm going to absolutely get the last goddamn vote. And guess what? If Claire's not sure, she should bring it to you at one of the weekly meetings. Hey, I'm on the fence. Walk me through it. So you see, I think the standards are too high. Everyone thinks this is all on my weight. I've got no help. I'm the only perspective and I have to make the decision. And I like that they're like, if I'm not sure, they're out. And for the final decision, that's I would actually modify it to, if I'm not sure, I'm going to take it to Adana Rufi. But for the first 2, it's like, if I'm not sure, I'm going to push them through. Not because we're hiring them. We don't want to tell the standard to get on the team is lax, but the standard to get to the next step, I wouldn't say is lax, is more generous.
Okay. Because so far I haven't trained anyone. Well, I kind of trained someone to do the one-on-one interviews. I'm going to start doing that next week for sure. But my group interviewers, they do feel like they're making a big decision on who are they going to send into the second interview.
Not at all.
Okay.
Just tell them it's okay. That's why we have 3. right? There's a reason, right? Like, again, I use it with dating. If I got one date with somebody and I can decide if they're going to be my spouse forever or not, that is way too much pressure. Right. I'm not deciding that. I'm just deciding if I'd like to have coffee or dinner or something with them tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Well, I can do that. Like, that's all they're deciding.
What do you do when, let's say I have my 2 interviewers that really like,
and hold on, let me set another frame. I don't like the term interviewers. They should just be cleaners. Because again, anytime you start labeling someone, right, Vernetta, you're an interviewer, Claire, you're not.
Okay.
There is, Vernetta, you've been doing the interviewing, and Claire, you haven't started yet, but you're both cleaners and you're both interviewers. Claire just hasn't been trained yet. So I don't want, you're doing this like kind of class where, and that's fine with Canadians versus Americans, but on your own team, you can't make a distinction like that. Sorry, Claire, I took a shot at poor Cindy earlier, and I didn't know if you heard it because your camera's off. So I want to make sure I got one in on you.
It's only fair. I need one per call. So we've met our quota for the day.
I'm trying one. I don't know if I can get it down that quick, girl. I'll try to keep it to like one hand when it's 5. So Adon, yeah, definitely. I wouldn't label them like that. Second, my standard, you guys don't have to take this. If I'm in town, I'm doing one of those interviews every week. So it's not always going to be the group. It's not always going to be the one-on-one. It's not always going to be the working, but I will do at least one. If I really feel like the culture is getting away from me or something's funky, I might do 2, or even, God forbid, all 3. But I'm going to always do one if I'm in town. And anytime I'm in an interview, there's going to be a new person there. So even if Vernetta's running it and Claire has yet to run an interview, me and Claire are coming.
Okay.
So it should just be part of everyone gets stuck on that. They're like, oh, these guys are interviewing, these guys aren't. And I get if it's like, all right, Adon, it's a 20-hour curriculum. You got to do it one-on-one with the employee. I could see you going, well, that's a big investment. I'm not willing to do that. But it's like, it's 0 investment. It's literally 0. It's just telling your scheduler, anyone that hasn't, whoever is the longest been since they've been on an interview, that's who's next. So it's like, well, Claire's never been on one. Then she guess who's doing this week's interview. That would be that. So the scheduler should handle all of this stuff. You shouldn't be involved with any of it. And it shouldn't be, well, I trust Luke, but I don't trust Beth. Well, then I got to have a conversation. Beth should be on the team. I hate that when people are like, I don't know if I want to trust them with keys to my office. I'm like, but you'll trust them with keys to the homes of your clients or the business. What are you doing? So it's like, oh, I'll trust them to go into clients' homes, but not to be a part of the interview process. Like either they're fit or they're not. Like you mentioned earlier in the chat that we were having on Slack, like A players, B players. I use that just internally to the clients. I would never have that. Like all of them have to be like with Suzanne and Janelle. I don't, but maybe I like Janelle a little better or Suzanne a little better. Mm-hmm. If one was an A and the other was a B, and like, well, Janelle's the good one, everyone knows it, and Suzanne's, I got to get rid of Suzanne. Like, we can't have it. Like, either they're good or and they're different humans, and they each have different qualities and strengths. I'm not saying they're identical, but they both. It's a pass fail. There's no like, you know what I'm saying. So I don't like the A player. Like, well, Jessica's iffy, so all her cleans get. But Vernetta, she's a good one. It's like, well, what are we doing? You're trained sorry, girlfriend. Jessica looked up like, why? I'm not even Canadian. Either get her the training she needs, or the more likely the core values conversation she needs, or let someone from your hiring funnel in. So are you cool with, if you're in town, be at least one of those interviews? And if you're in an interview, somebody else should be at the interview. And the trainers can train each other, just like with the cleaners. The schedule just books it all out, and whoever's been the longest since they've been to that type of interview, that's who's up.
Okay.
So yeah, if you have to do it, you'll forget. And I don't like Claire. Blah, 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 blah. It shouldn't be that way. It should just be Claire's up. She hasn't done a one-on-one interview yet. Let's go.
Okay. So is then it's probably not a good idea to give him like different shirts to
it's worse. The opposite. Again, I think I've shared with you guys before. You guys can read, but the Harvard study where they just put a bunch of people in a basement.
Right.
Yeah, you're a prisoner, you're a guard. You're a prisoner, you're a guard. No, just for the people that haven't heard it. I know Sarah's new. The guards started abusing the prisoners. All they did was label them. That's it. Like they had to stop the study. It was supposed to go a week. It went like 70 hours. Like they cut it because it was getting out of hand. So you're like, it's not a good idea to label people guard, prisoner. Like, no, the prisoners are going to start. It doesn't work. So everybody's a cleaner. Everybody's responsible for their own thing. Everybody knows if you're part of this team, you come to the weekly meetings, you do the trainings, you do the cleaning, And if they're like, I don't want that, I just want to be a cleaner. Oh, that's not what this is. This is where we're constantly improving ourselves and getting better and learning and growing, and totally cool if that's like, there's nothing wrong with something. Like, I just want to clock in and out and clean. I want to do it by myself. I don't want to do any meetings. I don't want a culture. Just leave me the hell alone and let me clean. That's a 100% reasonable expectation for a job. Would not be okay for my job.
Okay. Because I do feel like a couple of my cleaners that have been the longest with us, I feel like they are more strict and they feel like they're above.
Because you've labeled them. They're trainers, they're cleaners. You've been here like with you guys, it's complete meritocracy, right? Like some of you have been here longer than Claire, some shorter. But when it comes to selling and stuff, I'm always holding Claire up, not because like, well, Claire's been here a long time. And for us, oftentimes meritocracy does kind of, the longer you've been here, the better you do. But it's not like, well, this guy's been here for a long time, he's smarter than you. Like, nope, he's just been here longer.
Okay.
Hey, Cleaning Nation, if you dug the content you just got, we don't do any ads and I don't sell anything on this podcast, but if you would just subscribe, rate, and review, it would be huge and I'd be so appreciative. Not only is it going to help me, but you'll help other owners of cleaning companies across the world work less, make more, and get profitable. So if you appreciate the value we give, again, subscribe, rate, and review. It would mean the world to me. I'd really appreciate it. And we sure appreciate your time and attention.